What did you feel like was setting up that last play call to Rashad?
Well, they switched their coverage there the drive before, and they were giving us the same look, the same shell with the safety, and he slid inside of us. Actually, it was 2 drives before that, and he cut Rashad off on the play, and then we came out the next drive, and we ran, that was the ball that was incomplete to Demetrius, which is a good play against that look, but that was a safe play if it was either look, you know, and then when they played it again that way, I was like, okay, you know, let's hopefully that, you know, we got the ball back. And, you know, the thing was, you just didn't know there was a minute, whatever it was, minute 50 to go. You didn't know for sure they were going to be in that look, and they gave us the disguise with it. But right before the snap, I saw him, he moved inside, and I was like, okay, here we go. You know, but anybody could have called that play. I mean, the execution was superb. You know, give the credit, it goes to the players. You know, the kids executed, and truth be told, we didn't practice that play last week with it. So, you know, the guys, they deserve the credit, because honestly, right, if the protection's not there and we get sacked, right, everybody's saying, what kind of call is that? The ball is overthrown, or he doesn't run the route right and it's covered, you know, nobody's asking about that play, you know, other than maybe what the heck was he thinking, you know. So, like, it's a player's game, and the credit needs to go to them.
What impressed you most about Tanner's play in the game?
I thought that he carried over from the week before in Nebraska. You know, sometimes it's a little bit easier when to go in there and be relaxed when the you know, the guy that started the game gets injured. I've seen guys do that. It's a little bit different when you have a whole week to think about it. But he stayed relaxed, composed, you know, and within himself, which is always the key for a quarterback. You know, you have to play to your strengths, and you got to be able to stay relaxed. If you're not relaxed, you can't think clearly. And, you know, whenever it's hard to react to things when you're not thinking clearly. You know, because if you're not thinking clearly, when the ball's in the air coming back to you, you're still thinking. And quarterback is a reactionary position. You know, you cannot still be thinking when the ball's in the air to you. It's time to react.
What did you see from him when he didn't get the starting job, and how he reacted?
I thought, you know, he really embraced really our culture here. You know, one of the things we talk about is control the controllables. You know, and whether, and I'm not saying he didn't, but whether he did or didn't agree with the decision really didn't matter, because it wasn't his decision. That's not something he could control. You know, what he could control was to continue to work hard and prepare as if he's the starter, and make sure that he's growing as we go, you know, throughout the season. And, you know, he's the one checking himself, and he's the one that deserves the credit for that. You know, when he wasn't in there, as a quarterback, only one guy can take a rep at a time, you know. But when you're not in there, if you have mental toughness, you can take that rep as if you were in there. But you have to use your imagination a little bit, because it doesn't do any good to just go through it half speed. You're not training any instincts or gaining anything from it with it. So if you ever got a chance to watch our practice, you would see him standing behind, and when he wasn't in there, and just the same thing Zach, you know, did today, you know, standing behind and enacting perfection and doing everything but throwing the ball, or doing everything but handing the ball off. And, you know, that's how you gain repetitions. And even when you're the starter, when you come out, you do the same thing. You know, we really want all of our position players, when they're not in, to imagine that they're in and go through their calls and think about their technique and what it needs to be, you know, so we can continue to gain repetitions.
Have you seen something from Tanner in games that you maybe necessarily didn't see in spring ball or fall ball for practice?
I think you know, that he's just grown. He's gotten better as a quarterback. You know, his decision making was better. He was more confident and decisive. You know, but I had seen that evolving as we were going through. You know, even when he was the backup in practice, I had seen that starting to evolve with it. So, I mean, I told him after the Nebraska game, like, I'm not surprised. you know, and I told him again after the Indiana game, you know, great job. I'm not surprised, you know, and I won't be surprised when, you know, at some point Zach gets another opportunity, you know, and he performs well. You know, the thing I'm excited about, let's talk about what we're excited about here. You know, that we got, right, we went into spring ball last year, you know, wondering if we had a quarterback, you know, and, you know, now we're 3/4 of the way through the season and we won football games with two different guys. And I feel like both guys have proven that, you know, we can win with them and that their best football is ahead of them.
How much have you noticed the offense just evolve? PJ was talking a little bit about that yesterday, about kind of having to be creative last year with a lot of things that you did.
Yeah. It wasn't too creative though, was it, last year? That didn't seem to work out. You know, so it's again, it's a player's game, and you know, the thing that I noticed in spring ball was that we had pieces, that these guys had potential. It was within them, you know, and you know that's what I started harping on them about. You know, starting in spring ball when we were getting our butt kicked all over the field by our own defense. You know, it's within you, you know, but you have to be willing to pay the price on a daily basis, you know, and I thought we made a big jump between the start of spring and the end of spring, you know, but, you know, where we started from was like way down here, you know, and so that was an easy jump. You know, we just understood things better, so there was naturally going to be a jump there. I think that what we were fighting by the end of training camp, the thing we kept talking about was that we're right here, you know, and this is what we've got left. But this is the hardest part to get. You know, you really got to grind right now. And they kept grinding, you know, and you give them the credit. And guys, we are not there yet. Believe me, I'll tell you when we are, okay? You'll see it. We're not there yet, but the credit goes to them because they collectively, we had to grind collectively together. It couldn't just it can't just be the receivers. It couldn't be just the quarterbacks. It couldn't be the running backs. It couldn't be just the O-line or the tight ends. We had to grind together because offensive football is the ultimate team game. It takes 11 guys working together play after play. And when you see that, that's pretty to watch. When it's not, it's ugly to watch, you know. And so they've grinded together and, you know, they've improved, and you know, again, I saw it. I saw them improving as the year went on, but you don't always see. You got to do it right in practice first. If you do it right in practice, I think a few weeks ago somebody asked you about the deep balls. The only thing I knew was we were completing those deep balls in practice. So I need to. Eventually, it was going to translate to the game field at some point, and we had to continue to show confidence in our guys, you know, and that's really kind of how it's evolved. And again, the credit, I can't give enough credit to them and the other assistant coaches, you know, for the grind that they have. And, you know, now we got to keep grinding. Now we've had a little taste, right? You know, and now the challenge is you got to stay hungry, right? Somebody gave us a steak, you know, can we stay hungry? You know, and that's, you know, that's the challenge. But like, again, our program here is, you know, we're going to change our best on a daily basis. The results don't matter. That's just data. You know, we're going to respond to whatever they are.
PJ had a lot of praise for Connor Olson yesterday. What were the things that he put together to be able to have a good game against Indiana?
I think, you know, what we need out of Connor is a very talented player, and we need him to be dominant out there on the field. And I thought in the Indiana game, he was dominant at times out there, and I think that's a big step for him, you know, that he can watch the film and see that, and now, hey, this is my standard now. This is the new standard for me, Connor Olson. I'm going to be a dominant offensive lineman, and again, he has it in him, you know, and that's the key is for Brian Callahan to continue to pull it out of him.